Joining the show today is one of us by way of Rosemount, Minnesota, where he played one season of high school hockey before making the jump to the USNTDP, all leading to the 2023 NHL Draft, where the Minnesota Wild used their first-round pick to select him 21st overall, Charlie Stramel. And I think we got to start there, Charlie, because I've been criticized no matter how I pronounce your name. I say Stramel, they say Stramel. I say Stramel, they say Stramel. Set the record straight. How do we say it?
Stramel, like Stramel. Like
All right, there you go.
There you go.
And I caught myself doing it again. All right.
It's
Hopefully
okay.
That's the last time I get corrected. Well, really appreciate you jumping on here, man. First question that we ask everybody, and you've grown up, had the Wild forever. First time you saw that logo, what did you think it was?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I don't even know if I could recall like specifically first time since I was so young, and my parents were always Wild fans growing up before I was even born. So I don't know, like the wilderness maybe, like is maybe what I thought when I saw the logo first time.
And who was your favorite Wild player? Was it Parise, or who were the guys you watched that you were your top guys that you like to emulate?
I'd say growing up when I was younger, yeah, definitely when Parise and Suter came over, that was kind of a big deal. I remember watching them a lot. Obviously Koivu was a legend here. Granlund when he was here for a little while and they made that little run. I'd say those are the names that kind of come to mind.
Were you at the game when Granlund scored his ridiculous, at the ridiculous moment?
I was not at the game, but I was definitely watching. Yep.
Well, as you can tell, it's Fellowship of the Rink is the name of our podcast, a stick tap to Lord of the Rings. I wasn't sure if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, or like, if not, like what's your kind of nerddom or nerd itch? Like what's your movie series or book series or collectible that you think off the ice?
Yeah, I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy, but I'd say, I'm a big Harry Potter guy. So I watched that for the first time last year and I was very, very, was not expecting what I saw. So I liked it a lot. There's my nerd itch. Yeah.
What house would you be in? You figured that out?
Ooh.
Which house would you be?
I don't even know. Slytherin? Is that the main one?
Slytherin, yeah. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, obviously, we see at the backdrop behind you, a lot of legends go through Michigan State. Ron Mason, I covered college hockey back in Michigan when I was at school. Being there now seems like you really had a great start. And I was just curious, is what been the biggest spark you think for you in terms of the biggest change where it feels like you're playing with a lot of confidence right now?
Yeah, I think like you just said, big thing was getting the confidence back for sure. Since the start of this year, confidence has been up a lot compared to the last two seasons. So I think that was a big one. I think getting into the culture here at Michigan State really helps you elevate your game. The way guys go about their day-to-days here, whether it's the coaches or the players or staff, like that kind of helped me elevate my game from the start and really get back to playing, my style, better hockey than I did at Wisconsin.
And maybe I know you go back with Nightingale there. Like, how much is he part of this kind of a little bit of a turnaround for you? Like, how does he kind of get a lot out of you in this particular way?
Yeah, I think it's been awesome. He's been, one of my favorite coaches since I met him at the program. So I think just coming here and having that initial trust was big. And then doing everything I can to, help the team win. And Knights is awesome with not just, helping us become a team here and building culture, but really guy to guy, up and down the lineup, helping people develop their game, not just for this level, but the next level as well.
Was there a conversation or coaching moment you had with you maybe early on in camp, like saying, hey, like put the last year or so behind you, or like, how do you, or like just maybe some encouragement of like, hey, I've seen you play the certain way of the program. Like, was there any kind of conversation or words of wisdom that he kind of specifically shared to you that kind of like helped a little bit early on?
Yeah, for sure. I remember early in the summer, we talked on the phone a good amount and just how, you got to come into this season with a chip on your shoulder. That was a big thing he told me. And we're here to, prove people wrong as a team. And then as for you to individually as well. So come in with a chip on your shoulder. We're going to change your body in the summer here, get you in a better shape and take off from there. So I think just from the first phone call in the summer, like just knowing that he's got my back and I'm going to do everything I can to help this team win. And yeah.
How involved have the Minnesota Wild been like through that transition, like whether it's pointing you in the right direction for a good fit or even just what you're working on in the offseason to continue growing your game?
Yeah, they've been awesome, since the start, since the day they drafted me. The development guys, always here to, watch games, and even in the summer helping out a little bit and just trying to, help me develop as a player from the start. And then you said, what's the second part of that question? What in the summer was I working on, or?
I mean, just anything really they've pointed you towards for like how to keep building your game.
Your body,
Yeah,
getting in better shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Just continue to, a big thing for me, I think, is moving my feet. A lot of people are on me about that, coaches and obviously the Wild. And make sure I'm playing a power forward game. I think at times in Wisconsin, I got away from my identity. I was trying to do too much or not playing the way, I need to play to be a successful player at this level. So I think getting to those power forward basics, moving your feet, taking the pucks to the net, being good in the forecheck is kind of a big thing that they are very vocal about, and I've been trying to work on and continue to grow on.
You have to be confident to get to this level and eventually the NHL. But I was wondering how hard was it the last couple of years? Your first round pick, and obviously a lot of pressure on you. Like, we know you're not going to be like a 50 goal scorer, but you want to be able to produce a little bit. Well, how much did it weigh on you the last year or so, knowing you maybe didn't play to your identity?
Yeah, I think definitely, like you said, ups and downs. Wasn't playing to my identity fully at Wisconsin over that time, but I think through those, ups and downs at Wisconsin, you learn a lot about yourself, and how to handle adversity. So I think going through that for me on a personal level was pretty important, and to be able to, maybe figure out that Wisconsin maybe wasn't the best fit and find a new fit and really try and bounce back. And like Nighty said, come in with a chip on my shoulder and play like that power forward identity and, play the way I can play to be successful at this level.
So what is that like? Like deciding, hey, I'm leaving this school I've been at for 2 years. I'm going to enter the transfer portal. Like still kind of a weird new thing to, a lot of fans and people covering the game. What's it like?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting process. Kind of for me, wait till the season's over and then kind of decide, for me, well, I was kind of like, this maybe isn't the right fit for me here at Wisconsin. And so it was immediately get into the portal, start talking to, former coaches and agents and all that, and figuring out kind of what's going to be the best fit for me. It's kind of like almost getting recruited again, a couple of years back when I was getting recruited to come to college in the first place. But it was a cool experience. And honestly, it was kind of a no-brainer to come here. It was here from the start. If I was going to leave Wisconsin, it was go somewhere where you have some people you can trust. And obviously they've been doing great here as well, even before I came in. So it's a no-brainer.
And you don't have to throw other teams in, but were there others that were in consideration, or was it pretty much, yeah, I'm going to Michigan State?
Honestly, not. Yeah, it was always Michigan State. If I was going to leave, I was going to come here. So not really, no.
And now you guys are sitting, as of this morning, number 1 in the country. Be honest, like it's got to at least feel a little good to look over and see Wisconsin struggling after you left.
No, I don't think so. Honestly, I still got a lot of buddies
nice
on that team, a lot of respect for the staff there and what they've done to kind of turn that place around, especially last season. But I think they got some wins coming for sure. They still got some talent on that roster. They play hard. I am looking forward to playing them though. That'll be a cool experience for sure.
Like a chip on your shoulder, right? Is there a little more motivation kind of go in there and kind of, showing the fans there too, people followed you, kind of how good you've been playing this year?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, playing against those guys, it's going to be fun, playing in their building. It's going to be fun being on the other side of it. It always is. So it's, I'll be lying to you if I'm not, probably most excited for those games this season, but it's going to be a battle, maybe not the hottest start for them, but I know they got a great team, great guys in the room, and, they're going to be a team that's hard to play against.
You mentioned like leaning on different former coaches and people, during that process in the portal. Like, who are some examples of people you kind of leaned on in that process for advice of, whether finding the right fit or just overall going through that process?
Yeah, I think a big one was obviously you lean on the agents. They've been there before, seen players go through that before. I think family members like my mom, seeing her opinion, and even like film coaches, just people that have seen, coach people and seen guys go through that before, were kind of big ones for me. But, like I said earlier, when I entered the portal, I kind of knew where I was going. So it might have been a little bit different than other prospects. Like I didn't have to really weigh many options.
Yep, a pretty exciting line mate in Howard there. I remember covering his draft and the suit he showed up in, Miami Vice style stuff. How are you guys alike off the ice? How you guys like on the ice? What makes you guys get a good fit?
Yeah, he's one of my best buddies. We grew up kind of playing against each other and with each other a little bit. Just in the AAA scene, and then obviously played together at the program for 2 years and we're really good buddies there. So that was also another thing, you know, when he transferred from Duluth, I was, you know, asking him at the end of the season how he liked it here, and he had nothing but great things to say. And to come over here and, you know, have the opportunity to play in a line with him, obviously great player, but also an unreal guy, you know, one of my best buddies. So to lace him up with him every night's for sure. It's a good feeling.
And across the aisle, we had a guy on just a couple weeks ago here, and Jimmy Clark, who, when we asked him right away, like, hey, who are guys you clicked with in prospect camp, dev camp? And he's like, yeah, me and Charlie have played for a while together. And obviously awesome seeing you do so well over in Michigan State. But I mean, Jimmy's had quite the start to this year too. Actually, I think you just hit your point total from last year, like 30% of the games in. And when we had him on, he had just hit his previous year's point total. Like, got to feel pretty good having both of you pop off like this.
For sure. Yeah. Clarky's a great guy. Like you said, you know, I've known him for a while as well growing up, and he's always been a good buddy. And yeah, to see him kind of have, you know, a great year this year so far, you know, they got a great team over there too. It's exciting. It's exciting to see that for sure.
You talked about going into Wisconsin. Like, that's obviously the one that you circled right away when you got the schedule. Obviously being drafted by the Wild, coming in to play the Gophers the last game before the holiday break in World Juniors. And you said it, right? You're back to your identity. You're playing the game you want to play.
Yeah.
How excited are you for that one, playing again in front of Wild fans?
That'll be a big one. It's always fun coming back. Even when I was at Wisconsin, coming back and playing the Gophers at Mariucci is always a great experience. Obviously they're having a great start to the year so far this year, so that'll be a great matchup as well. And really just coming home and playing in front of all those friends and family that live in that area. And like you said, like being from Minnesota is always cool, coming back and playing there. So that's always been one that I definitely look forward to as well when I see it on the calendar.
What's your favorite childhood memory playing hockey in the state here? What was your favorite, you know, childhood memory? Like, could have been the backyard rink, could have been something your parents set you up with, or like what's your favorite childhood memory?
Yeah, I'd say what you touched on, backyard rink for sure. I think growing up, my dad would build a backyard rink almost every summer. And those were definitely some of my favorite memories, you know, first times lacing them up, getting used to the game, and just having that in my backyard was a pretty cool experience for me and my siblings to share at that age.
And obviously, sorry for his passing a few years back. I know he's a big, huge influence on your life now. Like, what was the biggest influence in your career for him? And maybe things that you've learned from him you kind of take to this day, like the last couple of years when he wasn't around?
Yeah, he's a huge reason why, you know, I am where I'm at, and it's all thanks to him. And yeah, I'd say some things like you said, just the dedication he'd put in, you know, waking up, driving me to the rink before school at 5 a.m., building backyard rinks every single winter, keeping that up to date, like little things like that, just the sacrifices he made when he was around, I definitely won't ever forget. And it means a lot.
You referred to kind of, you know, changing your body a little bit over the summer, and how, like, there's a lot of different ways you can do that, right? Some people build on speed, some people just do body fat, whatever. What was kind of directive or message you wanted to, or thing you wanted to change the most about to get you back to your game?
Yeah, I think right when I got in, the strength coach here at State, Will Morlock, I had him at the program too, and I truly believe he's the best strength coach in the nation. You know, he's got his stuff dialed in every single day. So we have a little 6-week camp here where we're pushing it pretty hard in the gym, and me and him got out a plan and stuck to it. So I dropped a lot in body fat, put a lot of muscle back on, and really feel like I'm in the best physical shape of my life, you know, currently. So I think continuing to build on that and working with Will every day, even in season, getting the lifts in, like, he's been a huge help. And yeah, it was an awesome summer with him.
Talk about the draft experience. Like, again, we've talked a lot about Minnesota hockey here. You grew up following the team. You get drafted by the Minnesota Wild. Like, what was that day like? This interview is brought to you by our friends at Waggle Golf. Waggle Golf believes what you wear on the course should reflect your individuality, who you are, where you're from, your hobbies, interests, and passions. All the stuff that makes you, well, you. That's why every design is inspired by the desire to create a piece of apparel that strikes a chord when you see it, that makes you say, wow, that was made for me. Because in a lot of ways, it was. Ready to get your Waggle on? Go to getyourwaggleon.com, throw in promo code SP10 at checkout to take 10% off your entire order.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience, obviously. Yeah, just going into the draft, you're always super nervous draft night, and then sitting there when the Wild walk up to the stage, you're obviously thinking it in your head, manifesting it, but at the end of the day, you think it's too good to be true. So to really hear my name called by them was a really cool experience, and something I definitely won't forget.
Was there a lot of meetings with them beforehand? Did you kind of have an idea that if you had a certain spot, they'd be there, or was it kind of a little bit of surprise to you still, based on other teams you talked to in that first round?
Yeah, I had some meetings with them and some other teams. I definitely thought like a little bit, but I said, I thought yeah, they were very supportive in their meetings, but you never know if they're trying to play mind games and how it gets. So for me, it was really too good to be true, but you always keep the options open. And yeah, like I said, an unreal experience there in Nashville.
Any weird questions from Billy and Judd?
Not much, honestly. I'm trying to think back. That was a few years ago at this point. Was obviously the animal one they always ask about. But yeah, other than that, not really.
The cool or not cool part about the draft is all the projections, right? You're trying to project what a 17-year-old is going to be in the NHL at a different level, and they say, "Oh, this guy's a second line center, this is a third line winger." Like this is like, what are your expectations, or you know yourself better than anybody else does, any scout does. Like, what do you project yourself as kind of a best fit for your identity, kind of on an NHL team?
Yeah, I'd say just that 200-foot, power forward that can move, using his size to an advantage, like I talked about earlier, like getting hard on the forecheck, being F1, getting back, winning draws, ability to create plays in front of the net at times. I think really the big thing would be playing to those strengths, the true power forward strengths up the middle of the ice.
And so, like, maybe last year you're trying to score too much, I guess, or maybe the things you were trying to do in Wisconsin, maybe try to get out of your game to try to maybe work your way out of something. Is that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I think I built a lot of bad habits at time early on in my college career. Getting away from what made me the player I was, growing up and going through the program, and didn't get myself in the best position and ended up, not having a great 2 seasons. But like I said earlier, it was a big thing getting my identity back over the summer and early in this season. So continuing to stick to that and build on that power forward game.
Nice. 2 questions, and then we will let you get back to class here, Charlie. Aside from Jimmy, anyone that popped out or stood out to you at Dev Camp where you're like, God, it'd be really fun to play on a line with this guy?
Oh, yeah, obviously I'd say Clarkey for sure, and then I'd go like Ogren's a great player. I love watching him play. Very skilled, played against him in a few U18s, never liked being on the wrong side against him. So I'd say he's definitely a guy that comes to mind, and, definitely a guy that would be fun to play on a line with one day. And
you said trust, obviously, was something you got from Nightingale. Like, how do you describe to fans, like, what a difference that makes when you have that kind of rapport with a coach, or you have that kind of, how does that kind of translate into, a better performance on the ice when you have that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think having that trust is huge, knowing that he's got your back and you got his back when it comes to stepping on the ice every day. And trust is huge. Trust helps a lot, I think, with confidence from a player too. If I go out there and maybe make a mistake, like, yeah, Knights isn't going to be too happy, but, I'm probably going to get out there next shift and have a chance to make it right type thing. So I think that was a big one for me coming here and having that trust with Knights and knowing he's going to give me an opportunity to prove myself here. And he's done that so far, and he's been awesome so far. So
nice. How's the golf game, Charlie?
The golf game's all right. It could be better, but it's on the incline for sure. It's getting better. I'm not happy it's getting cold because it still needs some work, but it's all right.
That's fair. Well, our final question here every episode. Waggle golf question. Everybody go to getyourwaggleon.com. Throw in promo code SP10 to take 10% off your entire order. Charlie, we need 3 names. Guys that are going to round out your dream golf foursome. It could be celebrity. It could be fictional, dead or alive, athlete. What do we got?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think Tiger's a no-brainer. Who else? Maybe like I saw that big match that Wayne was in the other day. I think Gretzky would be cool to play with. He looked like a pretty good golfer. Oh, lights went off. And then I'll go. I think it was a good one. Maybe like a MJ. I'll keep it simple. That'd be cool. That'd be cool for some.
Be a competitive group there. That'd be a lot of money lost in that golf foursome there.
Seriously.
Those
yeah, wait until you get your first NHL paycheck before doing that one.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much, Charlie, for joining us. What's your class you're taking now? What is your major? What's your kind of thing you're focused on? Like for if you're not playing hockey, what would your career be? I guess.
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, I'm going into like communication major. I'm not sure exactly outside of hockey what I do job specific yet, but I mean, I guess that's why I'm taking classes and stuff and trying to learn more about that here and get a degree. So I don't know. I'm in communications, but not sure a future career yet.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't know what I'm going to do either. So
got a pretty good feel there in hockey for a while. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy that one for a long time.
Hopefully, yes.
Well, thanks for taking the time before the holiday. Have a great holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. You guys have great holidays as well.